I'm the luckiest guy in the world because every day I get to leap out of bed and do the thing that I know without a doubt I was put on this earth to do. I'd do it if I had to pay money to do it, and I'd do it if it was illegal. You look at these animals, and these are perfect evolutionary creatures honed to perfection. But today, they're all threatened. There's not a species walking this continent that is not threatened in some way.
This is actually a couple of hyenas that came in here and killed some sheep, and then the sheep, they panic and they crush themselves.
That's expected to keep out a predator at night?
Yeah, it is, but it obviously doesn't work. So we help enforce them, because otherwise, we get retaliation. So we're trying to understand what this human footprint, the effect of the human footprint has on predator.
So what's interesting with this research is that they're able to gather data and create a report. These heat maps show which areas and districts over a period of time have had the highest conflict, predators attacking livestock. All resources are limited, so they can deploy resources to help mitigate those conflicts. The Masai Mara is one of my favorite places and has remained that for 2.5 decades because it's the perfect laboratory where humans, wildlife, livestock, and tourism all converge, all trying to compete for similar resources.
The key to make this whole thing work, the people, because if they wanted to, they could kill all the wildlife. So it's really important that they understand the benefits of conservation and want to live with the wildlife.
As conservationists, we will have to work it in such a way that the benefits from conservation would outweigh the other land uses. So what we're doing now is we are looking at the human aspect, encouraging the communities to keep fewer livestock numbers.
So wildlife today is no longer just an economic burden. The Maasai are thinking differently about it. They own the land, and as they adopt a conservation mandate, that gives them an opportunity to yield dollars off of that landscape. At the end of the day, we're living in a human-dominated landscape, and the community ultimately decides where the wildlife lives or dies. So they're engaging schools, wildlife clubs. The other aspect is trying to set some leadership as to how tourism is going to grow in this next decades. It's the only sustainable use, tourism. It's divided into two sort of tourism. It's consumptive utilization and non-consumptive utilization. One is hunting and one is not. I can't tell you how many times people say, you're not a hunter, are you? I would say that I've dedicated 47 years telling its story, painting it, understanding it, studying it, observing it, being in the presence of it. I mean, my whole life has been dedicated to it. I know that my deep appreciation for wildlife and understanding of its importance and value and connection to it, that's all rooted back into my hunting years and hunting days. This is my second black rhino painting, and it's called Faru, which is Swahili for rhino. I feel this weight of telling the story of an animal that 2-3 decades from now may not be alive in the wild. It may only be found in captivity or in photographs and paintings like this. As an artist, I have a foot in the left and the right. I have a foot in the anti-hunting world and a foot in the hunting world. When I'm pursuing something, I'm present to the birds, I'm present to the ground, I'm present to the wind, I'm present to all those other species that are watching me as I'm going after my quarry. From a conservation standpoint, though, as a hunter, I'm bringing revenue to the region. If tourist hunting is stopped, all of that revenue is gone that quick. Because at the end of the day, conservation is local. If those people feel that wildlife is a burden, they'll get rid of it and put their livestock on it. They're just trying to survive just like all of us are. Hadzabe people are an ancient hunter-gatherer tribe, barely over 1,000 of them, but they're truly hunter-gatherers. They live that indigenous life that has faded away in so many different cultures today. Just for me is just inspirational. I mean, see the creativity, the extension of their creativity, of their crafts, their dress, their beadwork. They're so good at what they do, and they're super passionate about it with such primitive tools. You know, it's inspirational.
So now they've harvested the honeycombs, but they've left the breeding combs in there, some wood and some rocks back into the hole. So they've protected the hive, and the hive will continue on. And they can come back and harvest this. So it's a very sustainable cycle. The bees are providers. They want to protect the bees. The bees are their friends.
I enjoy being with the Hadzabe people. They're just, you know, big, generous, big-hearted people, and they allow us a glimpse into their world, which is authentic as one can find today as a hunter-gatherer existence. And so they read this landscape like it's a grocery store. Where I see nothing but trees and rocks and such, they see edible opportunities. So I find it amazing that they can find sustenance in this harsh landscape. It's a really amazing experience for people that come from New York or California or Seattle or wherever it might be, that come and submerge into this ancient way of life, blows their mind. And I know that's the type of stuff as an artist I love to let that story penetrate into me and say, how do you regurgitate that on a canvas? Those are the places that I like to go, you know, especially now. I've been to Africa now 55 times, and it's something that I really have a very high standard of what I want to get. I want to be very efficient with my time. Wiba is one of those very special places that offers that. Artistically, you go and you say, okay, what are the stories? Now, sometimes I arrive here on the continent with a story, and then I go and gather the information, the reference material, and wait for the light to be right. Maybe I wait a day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe the weather comes in, I gotta wait it out. But often I go with no idea. You just wake up in the morning and go with the drift and the rhythms that Africa offers. And you never know what's around that next corner. There could be something epic in it. I always say that literally the most epic moments can appear in the most mundane context. In order for a conservation mandate to be successful, it takes great security. That takes great, highly trained scouts, game scouts. It's not easy to be a scout. You have to be extremely fit, and you have to be willing to face danger when it presents itself, and it can be at any given time, day or night. And then one of the things that Serengeti has, which I think is really exciting, is some dogs that have come from Working Dogs for Conservation, which is located in Bozeman, Montana, right near my art center.
Anafanya vizuri sana na pia anajitahidi sana DJ vizuri kabisa, na anajitahidi na anafanya vizuri na anafuata traki vizuri na anakuwa na malengo mazuri na tunafanikisha.
The dog is working really well with him, and he's very happy that the dog is helping out tracking the poachers.
They just asked Musaba and I to run and hide and out in the bush, and the dogs will be coming after us. So I feel like the dogs won't find us, but I think that's naive. See, I always feel that film, photography, painting, imagery captures our heart and our soul. That causes us to act, that pulls us forth into taking a deeper dive into something. You can talk about something, you can understand it cerebrally, you can read about it, but imagery captures your heart and mind. So I like to think that my work will be a recording of a time that when we lived with megafauna, still roaming free in an open system. You know, those are the places where I like to focus my attention, that gives me inspiration and gives me hope. This is it. This is going to be the centerpiece of the painting. We need about 20 times more fiscal capacity to our remaining wild spaces to protect them for perpetuity. We're way short. What can we do as individuals? Can we change that? Collectively, we have the power to do it. We have the power to change it for the negative. We have the power to change it for the positive. We just have to embrace the idea and re-engineer our consciousness and rethink how we make our decisions. I believe in the human race. I will go along betting on the human race. So we can do this.